Hello, my name is Connie Davis, and I am going to be your instructor for Intro to General Chemistry, or Chem 1010, this semester. I'm recording this video because we are meeting virtually for the first week of classes, so this video will cover the things that we would have covered during our initial class meeting. I want to begin by telling you a little bit about myself. I have been an instructor at Terra for 21 years. I was part-time for quite a while, and I've been full-time for the last several years. I also have taught part-time at another university. And prior to teaching at the university level, I taught high school chemistry and physics for 12 years. So I've got a lot of teaching experience. I've been teaching chemistry for a long time. This video is going to help you going to give you some tips and hints to help you be successful in Chem 1010. I realize a lot of people or a lot of students come into the class a little bit hesitant, maybe a little bit nervous because it might have been a long time since you've taken chemistry, or you maybe have never taken it before. So hopefully this video will relieve some of those concerns that you might have. Now, the first thing that I want to do is go over Canvas. Canvas is our learning management system. So when you click on my.terra.edu, it's going to take you to a page that looks like this. And this is the announcements page. This is from fall semester, so it'll be things that are going on right now. Your page is going to look different than this one. And then you'll click on the links page. And it'll take you to different links. So you want to go to Canvas. So Canvas is our learning management system. And again, a couple of announcements will come up. If you've got more than one class, things that are due will come up. And then your classes are represented as these tiles. So I am going to, some of my classes from the fall are also still on here. I'm going to go to Chem 1010. Now this is my view of the course, which is going to be different. So I'm going to go to student view so that you can see, or that I can, so the view is what you're going to see when you click on to Chem 1010. So the main thing that I want to talk about today is this important information tag or tab. That's primarily what this video will cover. There are also, this is the home page in Canvas for our class. Canvas is our learning management system. This is where you will check your grades, and these are known as modules. So if you click on modules, the same view is going to come up. So I've got the home page set as modules, so the same view will come up. I post a lot on Canvas. Only the first couple of units are open, but eventually you'll see that there are a lot of other things posted on Canvas. In addition, things that are due will come up if there's something that you have to turn in online. Now, my goal is for us to meet in person for most of the semester, so you won't have a lot of assignments to turn in online, but you will have some. And if that changes and we have to meet a little bit more online, I'll put out another video or an explanation of that. So the first thing I want to draw your attention to is this general class information. And if you want to print this off, you can. I'm going to go over most of the things that are on here in this video. So if you want to print it off and follow along, you can do that. I'm not going to keep it up here because I'm going to go over most of the things that are on it, and I want to be able to show you those things as I'm doing it. So the first thing I want to look at is the syllabus. And I'm going to go ahead and look at the syllabus in a downloaded fashion because the view will be better. So this is our syllabus. So the syllabus just contains things about the class. It contains how many credits it is, what the contact number or the contact hours are, and then it contains information about me. So that's my name, my office phone number, my email, and then my office hours will be miscellaneous. I haven't quite set those yet. My office location, etc. And then lower down, it goes through what the prerequisites are and then what the co-requisites are. So the primary thing I want to look at in this section is the fact that you should also be enrolled in Chem 1015, which is the Intro to Gen Chem lab. If you are not in Chem 1015 and you have never taken it before, please let me know as soon as possible so that we can get you enrolled in that. The only reason you should not be in Chem 1015 is if you took it in a previous semester and passed it already. Now, there are 2 textbooks for this course. They both are online free textbooks, and so you won't have to pay for anything, and I will show you how to access them later in this video. You will need a scientific calculator, and it doesn't have to be a graphing calculator. It can be a calculator that you can get for under $10 as long as it says scientific. It has to be able to do scientific notation or exponents, and later on in the semester when we do pH at the very end, you will have to take the log of something, and that should be a function on the calculator. Your grading scale is a pretty standard grading scale. I've got it set in Canvas so that essentially 90 to 100 is an A, but if you get above an 89.56, Canvas will round that up to a 90 and you will get an A. So if you get above a 79.56 but up to an 89.55, you'll get a B, and so forth. This part of the syllabus is very, very important, and so I want to pay close attention to this part of the syllabus because this explains the weighting of the different things in this course. So beginning with quizzes and homework. Quizzes and homework are worth 25% of your grade. So it's important to do as well on the quizzes as you can. They'll all be take home. Again, more of that will be explained later. Your homework, there will be very few homework assignments that I will actually collect and give you a grade for, but together that's 25% of your grade. So you want to do is you want to get the best grade that you can for that. Current events is 5%. That will be explained later in this video. The only way current events hurts you is if you don't do it. Now, tests are the majority of your grade. Tests are 50% of your grade. So you want to make sure that you understand the things that we've gone over on the quizzes and on the homework. And you want to make sure that you review and that you really prepare for the tests because that is going to be the biggest portion of your grade. And then in all of the science classes, the final exam is worth 20% of your grade. So it's important that you become familiar with these and that you pay close attention because tests are worth a lot more of your grade than homework or current events or anything else. So you really want to make sure that you focus on doing well on the tests. These are all the things that we'll be learning throughout the semester. And then this is a plan of work, again subject to change if we need to, but it basically tells you what we'll be covering in each session, and I'll give you a more detailed plan of work and a reading list later on. But this basically says what we'll be doing throughout the semester, and this is the syllabus. So we're going to go back to Canvas now, back to that home page. And again, you can see that Canvas is set up in modules. So this is the important information, current events module, the introduction and measurement, which is the first unit that we'll be covering, and then the second unit. There are 10 total units, but I only have the first 2 of them open on here. Now, the next thing that I want to go through is the textbooks. So there are 2 textbooks for this course, textbook A and textbook B. There are advantages and disadvantages to both of them, and that's why I'm using both of them. So all you need to do is click on the link, and it will take you to a page that explains textbook A, and then it will take you to an external link. So this is textbook A, which is called Introductory Chemistry. If you click on a chapter, it says what is chemistry. This would be the first chapter, and you can just scroll down. Now, the nice thing about this textbook, again, it is free. You can click on figures and it will explain these if it's something that's in the book. And then it will give you a summary of the unit, or a summary of the section, and then it'll give you some exercises to try. And I will be assigning some of these exercises. The nice thing about them is that then the answers to the odd numbered exercises are then given right after. So you can get immediate feedback as to whether or not you understood the concept and whether you're doing the exercises right or wrong. Textbook A will be the primary textbook that we will be using. Now, one thing that I've noticed since we've been using this online textbook is that students kind of forget throughout the semester that there is a textbook. So I'll try to remind you, but remember, you can always read things again in the textbook. Don't forget that just because you didn't have to buy something doesn't mean we don't have a book for the class. So this is textbook B. It's called Chemistry Online. I really like textbook B. It's got a lot of advantages. The reason we don't use it is because when you click on the textbook and then you go to a chapter, right now it's out of the frame, but it doesn't, the text is kind of small. Even when you zoom in on it, it's really hard to read. And that was a complaint that students had, and that was why I chose another book to supplement this one. It's not a bad book. It's actually a decent book. So if you'd like to use this one as another supplement, you're more than welcome. Now, the nice thing about this textbook is that it has these, I'm going to go back to the original site, because for whatever reason, sometimes the link gets a little bit messed up, but it has these micro tutorials. Micro tutorials are little short videos that you can watch. So if you don't understand something, you can look up that subject in the micro tutorials and watch a short video on that. There are also other tutorials. Let me click back. This is the bad thing. Sometimes the links are a little bit, I had to go. All right, so let's go to the tutorials. Now, the tutorials are actually very nice. So let's say I wanted a tutorial on how to get a percentage of something. So when I click on that, it will come up, and it'll give me problems that I can try. So it'll give me the part and the total, and then I can click the percentage. So let's say I do this problem, and I'm going to show what happens when you get the right answer and what happens when you get the wrong answer. So let's say I do this problem and I get the right answer. And I said it's 73%. I'm going to check my answer, and it tells me that that is correct. So then I can try a new problem, and let's say I don't know, I'm just going to guess something so I know it's wrong. And I check my answer, and it says that's incorrect. So then I have 2 choices. I can either retry it, or I can show the answer, and it'll tell me how they got it. It'll also tell me if there's a page in the textbook that takes me to that. So let me go to one that, like, significant figures, where there is a page in the textbook. So if I want to read more about significant figures, it'll take me to that section in the textbook. So then I can read about it while I'm doing the problems. So I would definitely suggest, if you feel like you need extra practice and you want immediate feedback, these tutorials are excellent, and they are found in textbook B. Now, how do you, oops, did not mean to click back that far. Sorry, I need to leave the student view and go back. I apologize. I'm not used to using Canvas and taping something like this at the same time, so it's a little bit of a glitch. All right, so now we're back to the student view. So how do you know what to read when? Well, there is a list of homework and reading assignments. So again, let's look at these. These will go unit by unit. Now, it's not necessarily class by class. It goes unit by unit, and it'll explain, what to focus on and what chapters in which book you should read. Now, primarily, all of the readings are from textbook A, unless it specifically says to use textbook B. So, for instance, in Unit 4, there is a place where you're going to be using textbook B. But generally, these are from textbook A. And then the suggested exercises are just the exercises that are found after each section. So these exercises are just suggested. They're not mandatory. You don't have to do them. I'm not going to collect them for a grade, but they're a good way to check that you know what's going on. So you are more than welcome to do as many or as few of them. But know that there is a reading assignment and there are suggested exercises for each problem or for each unit. And sometimes I may assign these, or I may say read these and read this, and we'll talk about it when you come to class. So just know that that's where the homework and reading assignments are. I can give you a paper copy of that when you come to lecture for the first time as well. And then there's another page on resources, and this will just take you to some YouTube videos that I think are useful. Crash Course, Bozeman. Khan Academy is good. It's a little bit more technical, but Crash Course and Bozeman are great sites for different videos. And you may find some videos that you like as well. Just beware that if you Google things or try to look things up, not everything that is on the internet is always 100% correct. So you want to be really careful that it's a reputable site. And if you have any questions about that, you can ask me. So here's a couple of things that I want to stress based on what we've just gone over. First of all, Chem 1010 is fast-paced. We will go over 10 modules in 16 weeks, or 10 units in 16 weeks. That doesn't mean we're going to be spending 2 weeks on each unit. Some units we'll spend a day on, or a lecture on. Some units we'll spend 2 weeks on. So it just depends on the size of the unit and the difficulty of the material in that unit. Now, each unit has its own module, and you can find a lot of useful information. I post a lot of things on Canvas. So there's going to be a PowerPoint video, or a PowerPoint that we will go over in class generally. Then if I have to narrate the PowerPoint, there would be a video for that narration. And then there will be a quiz. There may be a handout. So it might say atomic theory or definitions. I need to post that for Unit 1. Generally, there is a handout that you can look at that'll contain important definitions or an outline of the chapter. So you want to make sure that you use all of your resources that you have available on here, especially if you have to miss a class. Everything that we would have gone over is generally, or all of the materials that we would have gone over will be on Canvas. If you are absent, please email me and I can let you know what we've done in class. If you're absent, it's not an excuse for not turning something in that's due when you return. Now, we talked about the syllabus already and that the material that we're going to cover is on the syllabus. One thing that I want to mention in this homework and reading assignment, one way that you can think of chemistry is like a sport. And if you want to get better at a sport, or think of it as a hobby or any skill that you want to master, you just don't go and perform that skill, and if you've never done it before, think that you're going to be great at it. So I would not run a 5K race without never having ran before, because I would know that that would be hard to do and I probably wouldn't do very well. So just like athletes prepare for a game by practicing, the best way that you can prepare for your tests is by practicing. And how do you practice? You practice by doing homework or by redoing quizzes and things like that. So the more that you can practice and the more comfortable you are at doing something, the better that you're going to do on the tests. Oh gosh darn it. Sorry, I keep clicking off of this. I'm going to stop the video. Okay, so I'm back in the student view. One thing that I have found with students is, like I've said, all of your quizzes are going to be take-home. Your quizzes are already posted on Canvas for each unit. So, I mean, you could click on this quiz and you could work on it right now if you wanted to. What I have found is that students sometimes will do well on the quiz. And they might do well on the quiz because they've looked up all of the answers. Or it might take them a long time to complete a quiz. It shouldn't take you that long to do the quiz. If it does take you a long time or you are looking up all the answers, chances are then you're not going to know how to do that, or you're not going to have mastered that skill for the test, and then you're not going to do very well on the test. So if you do have to look up answers on the quiz, or if it takes you a long time to do a problem because you're not sure how to do it and you had to figure it out, then you're going to, once you figure it out, you're going to want to do it again a couple more times so that you can become more comfortable and get quicker at doing those problems. Now, units where things require a lot of practice, I will give some homework that I will collect, but many units I will not. The information that I put on the quiz are the things that I think are the most important from each unit. Again, they're all take-home, so you should be able to do well on all of your quizzes. The point I'm trying to make, though, is don't just Google everything and then think that you're going to do as well on a test as you did on that quiz. You really need to know how to do and master the information that is on those quizzes. I cannot stress that enough. The other thing that I wanted to say, again, homework and quizzes are 25% of your grade. There will be a penalty if you turn in quizzes late. The penalty that I've stated is 20% per session. So if your class meets on Tuesday and Thursday, your quiz is due on Tuesday and you turn it in on Thursday, that's a 20% penalty. To avoid that, if you know you're going to be absent, you can give the quiz to me ahead of time. Or if you miss class unexpectedly, you can take a picture of the quiz and email it to me, and you will not be docked any late points. Now, another thing that I've noticed happening more and more often is that students will turn in quizzes with problems not done. And then they'll tell me later, well, I just didn't know how to do this problem, so I didn't do it. If you don't know how to do a problem, then you should reach out to me. I'm not going to give you the answer to a problem on the quiz, but I will certainly help you figure out the steps to take to solve that problem. So don't turn in a quiz with any blanks on it, because then you're just losing points needlessly. So those are the quizzes. The tests will closely resemble those. The tests will also contain definitions from the definition sheets and things that we go over in class. Now, occasionally I'll give what's called a mini quiz. These are worth usually 2 to 5 points. And these are given at the beginning of a class in person. And so you can't make these up if you miss one. And it'll be generally one thing that I wanted to see if the class understands or not, and before I move on. So it might be something like naming a couple of compounds when we talk about that. So I can see that you understand that before we move on to something else. Now there are 4 tests in the class. I'll talk more about those when the time comes near. The tests again are 50% of your grade. The other thing that I want to mention while we are on submitting work and turning in things is that I know the quizzes are take home. I encourage you to work with other people on the quizzes or to find a group of students that you can work with in this class. That doesn't mean, however, that one person does the quiz and everyone else copies it. When you turn in something in this class, it should be your work in your own words. So it's very easy for me to spot when one person does a quiz and another person copies it. It really is not that difficult to notice. And if that happens, both students will lose credit for that quiz. So you want to make sure that you don't want to get a 0 on any quizzes. You want to make sure that all of your work that you turn in is your own work. Now, like I said about having a calculator for the class, if you forget your calculator during class, that's okay. You can use your cell phone, but there will be absolutely no cell phone usage allowed on an exam. So if you forget your calculator for an exam, if I have one available, you can borrow it, or if another student finishes, you can borrow it, but you will not, absolutely not be able to use your cell phone. I would strongly encourage you to get help if you need it sooner rather than later. So once we do Unit 1, you'll kind of know what types of things we're going to be covering in this class. And if you think, I just really don't understand this and I think I'm going to need some extra help, there is tutoring available on campus in the Academic Services Center. I am also willing to work with you if you want to meet, only when you have questions. If you want to meet every week, that's fine with me. So please, please do not wait until it's too late to ask for help. If you don't understand something, waiting until you don't do well on the test is too late to ask for help. So if you don't understand something, ask immediately. Don't be afraid to ask questions in class. Just because you're the only one who raises your hand and asks a question doesn't mean that others don't have that same question and are just afraid to ask. So please, the more getting help is a skill, and you need to realize that if that's something that you need, you should take advantage of that. So I can't emphasize that enough. All right, so I've gone over essentially everything that is on this class information sheet. That was what I wanted to really do in this video. The other thing that I want to do in this video is explain the current events assignments. And these current events assignments are not due for a while. Notice there are due dates listed. Now, this current events module will always stay open. So for directions, you can click on the current events assignments and notice that there are 2 assignments. Now, assignment 1 can be done anytime before February 19th. So if you want to do it this week and get it done and submit it, you are more than welcome to do that. As long as you follow the directions, you will get full credit. So keep that in mind. So assignment 1, you need to find and read an article that pertains to any branch of science. So the only criteria for the article is that it has to be It has to do with science, and it has to be written within the last calendar year, so within the last 12 months. You can use journal articles, magazine articles, newspaper articles, or there are a lot of science news type websites. Most newspaper sites, most news sites have at least one science article a day. It's not hard to find an article of science. And it doesn't have to be a chemistry article. If you're interested in biology or physics or astronomy, you can use those articles. Something I want to point out though, please be sure that you do not use advertisements, blogs, or product websites. And I only mention that because I have had articles turned in from all of those sources before. And those are not reputable sources. An advertisement that is selling something is not generally, sometimes it can be a good source, but not usually. They're going to tell you whatever they want, keeping in mind that they're trying to sell something. Then you're going to write a 1 to 2 paragraph summary of the article and a 1 to 2 paragraph opinion of the article, opinion of the topic of the article. So the minimum length of this assignment is 2 paragraphs. The maximum length is going to be 4 paragraphs. Now, for this opinion, I want your opinion of the topic of the article, not your opinion of the article. I don't want you to say, oh, this was so poorly written, I can't believe this person was able to publish this, or I really hated the way this person covered this article. If you don't like the article, find another one. There's a lot of them out there. You need to give me your opinion of the article. So, let's say you do one on wind power, using wind turbines to generate electricity. Then I want your opinion on using wind powers to generate electricity, and whether you think it's a good idea or a bad idea, or your opinion on renewable sources of energy, something like that. Then you're going to turn in your paragraphs along with the article itself or a link to the website. If I don't get a copy of your source or a link to your source, you won't get credit for it. It'll be a 0. So you need to include the link because I will check all of these links. And then it is due by 11:59 p.m. on February 19th. So how do you turn that in? Well, you turn it in the Dropbox labeled CE, which stands for Current Events 1. And so all you do is click on Submit Assignment. You'll choose your file to upload, and then you'll submit the assignment. All right. That's the first current event. Very easy. The second current event then is a discussion that we'll be doing as a class, and that is assignment number 2. Now, assignment number 2 is an assignment about endangered elements. 2019, which was just a couple of years ago, was the International Year of the Periodic Table to celebrate the 175th anniversary of the first periodic table. And the American Chemical Society has identified several elements that are considered endangered. So when you click on this link, it will take you to the periodic table of endangered elements. Now notice that any of them that are red are considered in serious threat. Any of them that are the orange are a rising threat, and then any that are yellow have a limited availability. So you'll pick one of those elements. Now when you pick the element, you are going to submit your element choice to me. So again, we'll go back to this module, and it says endangered element choice, and you click submit assignment, and you just type in what element you want. My element choice is helium, right? And then you submit the assignment. And then I will look at your choice and I will say I approve this choice, or I will say you need to choose another. Now, the reason I would say you needed to choose another is that someone already chose that element. And there's no reason for more than one person to have the same element. You will all have to pick a different element. So this element can be chosen anytime before March 5th. So if you know by looking at that there's an element that you want to do, then the sooner you choose it and submit it, the better chance you have of being able to write on or do the project on the unit or the element that you pick. Then the second part of the unit will be, or the second part of the assignment will be a discussion. So you're going to choose your element and you're going to answer these questions and you're going to post them in the discussion forum. So how do you do that? Well, you go back to, we're going to go back to the modules. And there is a link to the discussion forum. And it's not opened yet, so I'm going to leave the student view so that I can show you the link to the discussion. All right, so it'll come up like this, and it's another explanation of the discussion. You need to post your answers right here. You won't be able to see anything else until you reply or until you post the answers. And that needs to be done by March 26th. And then you've got another week until April 2nd. And in that week, you should read the posts of 4 other students and then respond to those. So that way, we're all getting a chance to learn something about at least 5 different elements. You can read more of them if you'd like, but you need to get full credit. You need to respond to the posts of at least 4 other students. And by respond, I mean, you know, a couple of sentences, not like, wow, that was good, or nice, or something like that. One-word answers are not acceptable. It needs to be a response, a thoughtful response that shows me that you read the discussion post. And so that is the last current events assignment, and it explains, again, the directions will be up here for the entire semester. So the home page is always all of these modules, and it will go over anything else that is due. Now, you may not have been able to see this because I don't think these were open until the semester starts. But there are a couple of assignments that will be due this week, or the first week of class. The first one is an introduction and syllabus quiz that you should take after watching this video. The second one is an assignment for Unit 1. And it just will have you read in Chapter 1 and answer a couple of questions. And again, you can just write your answers when you write in the text box. That will come up. So make sure that you do those before the end of the first week of classes. So this concludes the introductory video. I look forward to meeting all of you in lab and or in class, and hopefully we will be meeting face-to-face soon.